finally get their attention. The texts, the calls, the excitement, everything feels intense, alive, almost addictive. You check your phone more. You think about them more. You feel something real, building. And then suddenly, it fades. The same person who made your heart race now feels ordinary. The same conversations feel slow. The same connection feels heavy. And you start wondering, what changed? But the real question is, did they change? Or did your brain change? Stay with me, because what you're about to understand might explain every pattern you've had in relationships without you even realizing it. At the beginning, your brain is not chasing a person, it's chasing a feeling. That rush you feel when someone new enters your life is not love, it's novelty. Your brain is wired to respond strongly to newness. New face, new energy, new unpredictability. It creates dopamine spikes, the same chemical linked to motivation, reward, and craving. That's why everything feels exciting at the start. Not because the connection is deep, but because it's unknown. And here's the part no one tells you. Your brain doesn't just enjoy that feeling, it gets used to it. So when the relationship starts becoming stable, predictable, calm, your brain reads it as a loss. Nothing is actually wrong, but the intensity drops, and your mind starts saying, something is missing. But what's missing is not the person. It's the stimulation you were addicted to. That's when the shift happens. You start noticing small flaws. Things you ignored before suddenly feel annoying. Conversations feel repetitive. You respond slower. You stop trying as much. And without even saying it out loud, your energy changes. You don't feel the same pull anymore. And instead of understanding why, you assume the feeling is gone. But the truth is, the feeling didn't disappear. It just transformed into something your brain isn't trained to value. Because real connection is calm. It's steady. It doesn't constantly excite you. And for a brain that's addicted to highs, calm feels like boredom. This is where most people repeat the same cycle. They leave. They find someone new. The spark comes back. The excitement returns. And for a while, everything feels perfect again. Until it fades again. And then they start believing something is wrong with people. Or worse, something is wrong with themselves. But the pattern is not random. It's predictable. Your brain is chasing intensity, not connection. And if you don't understand this, you'll keep restarting instead of building. Think about your past. How many times did you feel deeply interested in the beginning and then slowly lose it? How many times did you think, maybe this just isn't the right person? And how many times did that exact same feeling repeat with someone else? That's not coincidence. That's conditioning. You've trained your mind to associate love with excitement. So when excitement drops, your brain assumes love is gone. But real connection doesn't start at the beginning. It starts after the excitement fades. And most people never stay long enough to experience that. Now here's something deeper. For some people, this pattern isn't just about dopamine. It's about avoidance. When things become real, when someone starts knowing you deeply, when emotional closeness increases, it creates discomfort. Not because the person is wrong, but because closeness feels unsafe. So your brain creates distance. You start focusing on flaws. You feel irritated. You pull back. Not because you want to leave, but because your mind is trying to protect you from something it doesn't fully understand. And the easiest way to escape that discomfort is to lose interest. So what feels like boredom is sometimes fear. Fear of being seen. Fear of being vulnerable. Fear of being hurt. But instead of recognizing it as fear, your brain labels it as, "I'm not feeling it anymore." And that label becomes your decision. This is why some people constantly need new attention. Not because they don't care, but because new attention feels safe. It's surface level. It doesn't require depth. It gives validation without vulnerability. Multiple conversations, multiple options, multiple people. It feels like control, but it's actually avoidance. Because when you're always chasing new, you never have to stay long enough to face yourself. And that's where the real problem is. It's not about finding the right person. It's about understanding your own pattern. Now here's the part most people don't expect. You don't fix this by forcing yourself to stay. You don't fix it by ignoring your feelings. And you definitely don't fix it by jumping into another relationship, hoping it will feel different. You fix it by changing what your brain values. Right now, your brain values intensity. You need to teach it to value consistency. That means noticing when your interest drops and not immediately reacting to it. Instead of thinking, "I'm losing feelings," you ask, "Is this just the excitement fading?" Instead of pulling away, you stay present. Instead of chasing new stimulation, you build familiarity. Because real connection grows in repetition, in small moments, in quiet conversations, in shared routines. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's not addictive in the same way, but it's stable. And stability is what your brain needs to learn. Another thing you need to understand is this: attraction doesn't disappear, it evolves. At the start, it's physical and emotional excitement. Later, it becomes comfort, trust, and depth. But if you only recognize attraction in its intense form, you'll miss it when it becomes something deeper, and you'll keep thinking it's gone. This is why people sabotage good relationships without realizing it. They leave not because the connection is weak, but because it's no longer overwhelming. And they confuse not overwhelming with not right. But the strongest relationships are not overwhelming. They are grounding. They don't constantly pull your attention. They give you space to breathe. And for someone used to chaos or intensity, that can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But uncomfortable doesn't mean wrong. It just means new. If you really want to break this pattern, you have to sit with that discomfort. You have to stay when it feels normal. You have to give your brain time to adjust to something that isn't based on constant stimulation. Because the truth is, you don't actually want multiple people. You want a feeling, and until you understand that, you'll keep chasing people instead of understanding yourself. So next time you feel that drop in interest, don't panic. Don't assume it's over. Don't immediately look for something new. Pause. Observe your pattern. Ask yourself, am I losing connection or am I losing stimulation? Because those are two completely different things. And most people never learn the difference. If this made you realize something about yourself, don't ignore it. Awareness is the first step, but change comes from what you do after. And if you've been repeating this cycle for a long time, it's not because you're broken. It's because your brain learned the wrong pattern. And patterns can be rewired, but only if you stop running from them. If you want more videos that help you understand your mind in a simple way, stay connected here. Because the more you understand how your mind works, the more control you get over your life. And maybe this time, instead of starting over again, you'll finally understand why it kept happening in the first place.